some trend that you see on TikTok. When in doubt, don't. Because earlier this month, I covered a story of a guy named Michael, who was an 18-year-old who had his life taken away when him and his friends decided to allegedly play a modified version of Ding Dong Ditch together at.
We watched that too. Was hilarious. Sadly, the guy who shot the stupid kid was charged. I hope he's walking free because he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't.
3 in the morning, where you essentially jump kick the door instead of ringing the doorbell. But this time, it's Rena O'Rourke, a 19-year-old from Tempe, Arizona, who was described as a one-of-a-kind and someone who dreamt of becoming famous.
Rena O'Rourke, a 19-year-old from Tempe, Arizona, tragically passed away after participating in a TikTok trend known as dusting. Rena had door-dashed aerosol keyboard cleaner to her home and inhaled it, leading to cardiac arrest. Rena's father, Aaron O'Rourke, shared, "She always said, 'I'm going to be famous, Dad.'"
It's clear that Rena wanted her name to be known. It's just unfortunate that this is the reason why. And I feel like, unfortunately, a lot of the stories I cover start off this way. It's like the whole "I'm going to be famous" mindset. And
yes, and then you die because you do something stupid. How about you don't do something stupid and do something that's worth something? I mean, I am a React Andy, and even I do something that's worth more than, you know, inhaling dust clean thingy that I from the can. I mean, how stupid do you have to be? How much did you fail as a parent that your kid is doing stuff like that?
that's why there's just so many TikTokers end up either getting banned, arrested, becoming universally hated, or having a tragic ending like this. But this is just nothing short of a completely preventable tragedy. Rena was only 19 when she lost her life after attempting something known as dusting, which honestly, that's been around for ages, but in recent times, TikTok has also popularized it. And if you don't know what it is, massive warning, never try this whatsoever. Please don't. That is my disclaimer. Never do something. But it's essentially inhaling computer duster because that gives you some short-term high, apparently. And obviously, this isn't just about one tragedy. This is also about a deadly online trend that represents an even larger and deeper problem that I'll talk about later on in this video.
Am I wrong in saying that these people deserve to die? Good riddance? That they don't, you know, reproduce and make the gene pool for our species worse? Good that they are dead. Fuck them.
So, what happened? On June 1st, 2025, Rena and her boyfriend DoorDashed a can of keyboard cleaner, something that is honestly fairly common. I probably have one laying around somewhere here. After the can was delivered, Rena and her boyfriend retreated into her room. And then I guess they decided to do this trend. And just seconds after inhaling the keyboard cleaner, Rena went into cardiac arrest. She never regained consciousness. And after a week in the ICU, Rena was declared brain dead on June 1st, 2025. Doctors then later confirmed the cause of her death as sudden sniffing death syndrome, which is an absolutely horrifying yet also fake sounding name.
I have never heard of that. How is this even a thing? Hello? I mean, imagine something this stupid is so common that it gets a name. This is incredible.
No idea that this was a thing. Let's talk about what she did and why exactly it's dangerous.
The trend, also called chroming or huffing, involves inhaling household cleaners for a brief euphoria. According to the Cleveland Clinic, this can cause instant fatal heart failure.
As I mentioned earlier, dusting isn't exactly new. Inhalants have been a problem for decades, and dusting is just the term for inhaling compressed air specifically. Similar to how spray paint is chroming and huffing refers to fumes like glue or gasoline. They all essentially do the same thing, just different chemicals. Tomato, tomato. And while inhalants like this usually only last for a few seconds, the effects are immediately devastating and sometimes permanent. Rena didn't collapse a few days, hours, or even minutes after the first inhaling, but seconds. I'm sure that you can guess, but this can not only result in seizures, but, you know, failure of the liver, heart, brain, and so on and so on. Basically,
who could have guessed that inhaling that's something that's used to clean something could be dangerous for you? Who could have guessed?
If you're wondering which organs might die as a result of dusting, the answer is Yes.
Why? Because it's cheap, easy to get, no smell, no ID. And the worst part, it doesn't show up on drug tests. Parents don't even know it's happening. Kids think it's safe because it's just air, but it's not. One breath can literally stop your heart. It replaces the oxygen in your lungs and shuts your body down. That's what happened to Rena O'Rourke. She collapsed. She never opened her eyes again.
And I'm really drilling this in because holy clearly we need some awareness here. And yes, I realize I'm coming across as like a worried, angry father because
I'm worse.
I kind of am. And I get this has been going on for so long, but it's not too late to stop it. What's sudden sniffing death syndrome? Dr. Stephen Axe actually describes this as making your heart more susceptible to fight or flight stimuli, which can trigger an irregular and fatal heart rhythm. Your heart just may stop. And when that happens, it may be difficult to revive that person. You don't need to be addicted. You don't need to do it multiple times. One time, and if you're unlucky enough, you're gone forever. So doing this is essentially like playing Russian roulette with zero upside. So I'm making this.
Yeah, who could have guessed kids are stupid? Who could have guessed that? I mean, except for everyone. Everyone could have guessed this. Of course they are stupid. They are kids. That's why you don't let them vote.
Video to give the extremely clear message: do not try inhalants. And if you're in school, never let a classmate do it either. Because this next part may sound unbelievable, but unfortunately it's true. In a 2024 study out of Michigan, a survey was conducted and had horrifying results. Around 4% of 8th graders admitted to have trying inhalants within the last year. That's just absolutely crazy to think about, especially when you find.
So 4% of the 8th graders could be dead. They are so stupid that they, you know, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe they should die. You know, maybe they should die. Just afford. Maybe they should die, making the world a better place by dying. Maybe they should. Maybe they should.
Out that there's even higher percentage of older teens that are doing this. And obviously, like, kids this young have to have been learning about it from somewhere. Now, I could just be disconnected because I didn't grow up in the States. I grew up in Norway. But I can very confidently say that 0 people in my entire grade were doing inhalants like that, at least up until what? Even beyond 10th grade, I had no knowledge of it. But still, I'm worried social media is excelling trends like this. And Rena's parents have been going viral on their own by trying to raise awareness about dusting specifically. And they make a lot of very good points. For example, not only is keyboard duster extremely common and easy to find, but it's cheap, odorless, and doesn't require ID. And it doesn't show up on any.
And it shouldn't. The problem is not that these cans exist. The problem is that these stupid kids use them to get high. That's the problem. What is the solution? The parents go and beat the children. Give them a good beating and the problem is gone. It's that simple.
Drug tests, really. And as Dr. Axe puts it, they're widely available. Plus, teens hear about other kids having done it, they're more likely to experiment and take risks themselves, which leads us to the real issue, the underlying pressure behind all this. Rena wanted to be famous, and like millions of others her age, she unfortunately grew up in an era where virality is perceived as validation. That's a massive problem because if all you need is virality for validation, often the more outrageous things become, the more viral it gets. This isn't just peer pressure, it's essentially like an algorithmic pressure. Like we've seen it, like TikTok challenges involving dangerous stunts, and then just people just simply harassing people for some basic attention online. This happens over and over again. Obviously, we've been covering this for years on this channel. Influencers doing borderline insane things for one single clip. Kids risking their health for likes and views. I feel like it used to be so much more isolated. What used to be a quiet experiment that some morons would do in their dad's garage is now not only recorded, hashtagged, and broadcasted to thousands of people, but it's also oddly encouraged and labeled as a trend. All while that trend is more likely a trip to the ER than anything else. And obviously, the more shocking the act, the more, unfortunately, the platform rewards you. Because even if yourself aren't doing it, platforms still reward this type of behavior, and it influences innocent kids like Rena into making poor, uninformed, and life-altering decisions. And also, taking a step back even, in theory, it's not the platform that's on purpose recommending reckless stuff like this. Because
it mostly doesn't. I mean, do we? I mean, depends on the platform, I guess. That's what I would say.
Like platforms and algorithms, they're pretty agnostic. All they want to do is serve content someone will want to watch. So the more engaging the content is, the more it's going to get recommended. And unfortunately, humans like seeing people doing reckless stuff because it's always like, hey, well, what will happen here? So if the platforms are actually going to monitor and stop all of this from happening, they're going to require to have so
Yeah, I mean, watching people doing stupid stuff and getting hurt, that's not a problem. The problem is watching a certain stuff and go, yeah, I want to do that too. That's the problem. That's the only problem.
many employees to actually monitor current trends. If I go hashtag dusting on TikTok, all I'm seeing is people actually dusting their homes, dusting their cars, or people talking about stories of people passing away from it. So it's hard to find it through a hashtag. So clearly the platform has done its job in trying to reduce this. But what happens is, you know, if it's an engaging enough video, it can pop up in people's For You page before it gets flagged. And it's just like this overall sticky situation because, you know, millions of videos are uploaded to TikTok every single day. And it's not like someone at TikTok can manually approve or disapprove a video before every video goes up. Then you would have a queue and you just would not have a lot of videos on TikTok. So it's just this really difficult situation to navigate. And overall, it's kind of a culture problem. But I feel like the best you can do currently to stop this is to just make as many people aware as possible that this trend is extremely dangerous, especially make parents aware to tell their kids growing up that you should never do a trend like this. And I guess going back to her parents, like Rena's mom had no idea that the keyboard duster had even been ordered until things went south. And it's genuinely terrifying how fast something like this can happen.
Rena's mother, Dana O'Rourke, emphasized the easy access teens have to these chemicals, advising parents to search their children's rooms.
And I mean, I get what she's kind of saying here. The kids aren't really hiding the crazy stuff under their beds anymore. They're more or less hiding the stuff in their phones. But since her passing,
yes, it's true.
Rena's family has raised thousands through GoFundMe, not just for her medical bills, but also to raise awareness about the situation. Her dad wrote, "She will be unbelievably missed, leaving the most aching hole in our lives. But if her life is to mean anything, we're going to do what we can do to prevent somebody else's child from being where ours is right now." So if you're a parent, please take the time to talk to your kids about this stuff because let's be real, if you're not having these conversations with them, strangers on the internet might will be. And again, I mean, when it comes to trends like this, views are never worth your life. Views are never worth your freedom. Views are never worth ruining someone else's day that you don't even know on the street. And it's just unfortunate because Rena should have been known for her talents. Instead, she's now the face of a devastating and preventable tragedy. Sorry for the more downer video today. I just saw this and felt like I had a rant today.
Yeah, this was something.